Gunpowder Milkshake is a Netflix film that's just been out for quite some time, and this film has an amazing cast. I'm talking about Karen Gillan, Nebula from Avengers, Angela Bassett, Michelle Yeoh, Carla Gugino, Anna Hatley from Game of Thrones. You name it! Gunpowder Milkshake is all about 3 generations of women that fight back against those who could take everything from them. As I was watching this movie, I got a good thrill going in because this film had John Wick vibe, and they did a good job of developing the world building like in the first 10 minutes. Basically, you follow this firm, this organization of men that hires the assassin that does their bidding, and there was a falling out between one of the characters, and that's the audience character, and that's what you follow. Karen Gillan plays the main character, Sam, and you follow her character throughout the movie, and there's some great action sequences throughout this movie, and you will follow her character on some great action scenes. Karen Gillan did a really good job of portraying her character on the action sequences. I did absolutely like every single scene that she was in. Fight choreography was amazing part. Was one amazing part. There's probably had to be like this sequence. I have to say that's probably one of my favorite action sequences of the. I don't want to say of the year. I feel like I'm going kind of strong, but I would say it's one of my favorite action sequences of the month. But yeah, I was really impressed. For other action sequences, I can't really remember, but there was another action sequence in the third act revolving with the mother and her. There's really cool action sequences in this movie. Like, yeah, it has some similarities to John Wick, but what is the one element that's gonna make you stand out? You know, not make you feel like John Wick 2.0. And I felt like the film did a good job of separating itself a little bit, differentiating itself a little bit, going on to the second act where we got into the characters. And then we got the drive of the film, and pretty much you follow her characters in some more cool action sequences, which was really cool. The vibes of the action sequences, like it has like a Quentin Tarantino and a mixture of Atomic Blonde. You can actually laugh during the violence and things. And I did like the cinematography, how it was directed. They had the color, I love the color palette in some of the particular scenes. Film has like a neon retro style. They put a lot of emphasis on certain colors like pink, red, and purple, and those are bisexual colors that I happen to research because apparently that is a thing now. And the performances from Karen Gillan and everyone else, Michelle Yeoh, Angela Bassett, they all did their thing. They all did their thing in the action sequences, especially Michelle Yeoh. She really did a good job. Oh man, there were some really cool action sequences you can really sink your teeth in and just enjoy and get an enjoyment from. Do you understand the patterns going on here? I'll keep going back to the action sequences. So that just leads to the issues of the film. Like, yeah, this film has a simple story. It has a simple concept. The concept of the movie is similar to John Wick. And the thing with John Wick like raised the bar of your spy espionage action-packed movie. Now the film is trying to create a foundation called The Firm. But remember, I did mention in my early reviews of John Wick where if you're creating a building, you need to create the foundation. If you create a building without establishing a good foundation, what will happen? The building will crumble in on itself. So what will happen if your foundation of your plot is not built properly? What will happen? The plot will crumble in on itself. So the foundation of the plot wasn't there. The two relationships that's supposed to be impactful for the movie, and that's one relationship revolving around the mother. Post introduction, we get an understanding of it. That's supposed to be one of the main story arcs that's supposed to progress her character throughout the movie. You know, like something that she can probably learn from or gain something to use to better herself. And the second relationship, little girl is like she appears with Sam and throughout the movie, and there's like some little bit of emotional development, but the impactfulness just wasn't there. I couldn't really feel that story plot just on an emotional level. Like I said before in my pros, like, yeah, this movie is badass. They had a lot of badass characters, badass action sequences, and this film was directed beautifully as well. It also has some beautiful cinematography. But the problem is the story in the writing revolving around that. Like, they didn't develop the world building. They didn't make me feel invested into the story. Outside of Sam and her cool action sequences, I don't know anything about her. I don't know any other characters what they do outside of the plot or outside of what I saw. Also, it lost me. I don't remember none of the characters' names, and it actually took me a while to figure out the main characters' names, and that's a huge detriment to the film. I do not Wikipedia and all that before I talk about my characters. I always rely on the movie to help me memorize the character. And the movie helps me memorize the character, so that's why. So therefore, if the film is able to help the audience or help you remember the character's name, then the film has done you a good service. But if the film doesn't do it, it's done you a disservice. So I had no clue who these characters are. The build-up of the firm, like there wasn't. We don't know what the firm, who is part of the firm. What exactly do the firm do? The film never established its rules. Like, if you're gonna have a film that's similar to John Wick, at least establish some of the rules. Like in John Wick, there's a certain location, Continental, that you go through, and you can't conduct business. You can't kill anyone. You can't kill out a hit if they're inside the Continental. And if you do so, you are deemed as excommunicado, and they hunt your ass down and try to kill you. And there is this diner where in the first act they establish as this standard ground where assassins can go and meet and greet, but guns are not allowed. But yet there's scenes in the movie where characters are using guns and they're shooting guns, and they just pretty much, they even kill people in this sacred place with guns. But there were no consequences for the characters that used the gun. Why are you saying this diner is sacred ground or it's an important place if you never established the rules? This film had a similar setup to like Birds of Prey. Because in Birds of Prey, the setup for the women in the movie, they didn't really form a team, or didn't really have most of the badass scenes until the third act. Most of the badass scenes happen between the first two acts was revolved around Harley Quinn. Similar in the situation with this movie, most of the badass scenes are happening with Sam. She pretty much meets the women down in the third act, and they team up together, and they did their thing. The setup was sloppy, transitioning into building up them trying to become this team, because actuality, it just felt like they dragged it way too long, because they were in these two locations in the same house, right? So they were in this one room, and they were a little bit overwhelmed, and then they switched to a different room, and then they had like a motivational speech, and then they decided to fight. But yet, if y'all claim that this was your house and this was your place, why you having motivation speech in the second room? Why you just couldn't do that in the first room, where actually, if you did it in the first room, you would have cut the film from 30 minutes, because my butt was itching, and my butt shouldn't be itching, because if my butt is itching, then the film is definitely way too long. Yeah, this film is sloppy when it comes to some of the transitions, but I still had an entertaining time with the film. This is a good popcorn flip. Well, it's a great action movie, so I'm going to have to give Gunpowder Milkshake a Valkyrie Batman. This is a guilty pleasure I really enjoyed, and I feel like if you turn off your brain, you can enjoy it too. That's my review of Gunpowder Milkshake. Have you seen Gunpowder Milkshake? What are your thoughts? Comment below. Let's talk about it, and I'll see you guys in my next review. And if you like everything you see and you agree, subscribe to my channel and join me in the Batman family. I'll have more Batman-tastic reviews on the way. You have been warned. Till then,